I just lost you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're a little bitty window.
Yeah, because I'm sharing my screen. So if you hit escape, the escape button, it won't be full screen for you, and you should be able to see.
No, I didn't do anything.
Let's see. All right, but can you see the agenda here on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna use the share screen so we can all kind of go through this quick. So like I said, welcome to the meeting of the Commission on Disabilities. So far it's myself, Courtney Butler, and we have member Frederick Gentner, and then we also have a guest with us, Catherine. How do you pronounce your last name?
Letourneau.
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 Letourneau. Great. Thank you for joining
us. On my screen, it stops at Latour. Anyway.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so the first, the Massachusetts Commission on Disabilities, Fred and Kate and I talked about this last time. They sent out a crisis standards of care planning guidance for the pandemic, and I didn't submit any public comments, Fred, but did you have a chance to do that, or?
No, I didn't have a chance to do it.
I didn't talk to Kate, and I didn't know she had either, but we have those available if anybody wants to see them. And when they publish the final ones, I'll put them on the website, the town website. Observations, updates, and recommendations from around town. So Fred, I know you had sent an email to Jeff about, is it Hatch's Fish Market?
That's correct.
Okay, can you just explain that a little bit? It's dealing with their ramp, correct?
Correct. Actually, I don't have a copy of the, anyway, I know what I said, because and I attached pictures, which you should have been able to pick up on that message.
Yes. You know, let me pull it up.
Yeah. So it's an interesting situation in the sense of sometime this spring, before we were delayed this year coming down because of a bunch of stuff that was going on to the Cape, that is. But I noticed that, it's like that there had been a change to the entrance to Hatch's Market. Okay. And in that there was a what I consider an illegal ramp. Okay. And that's what I took pictures of. I took a bunch more pictures, but those were pretty representative, in terms of this, according to the Architectural Access Board publication, right? Which I alluded to like on our first meeting. In fact, I remember kind of holding it up, Anyway, there's supposed to be a landing. There's supposed to be a landing on this thing. So, but as you can see, it goes straight up to the door. Okay, which is actually kind of dangerous because for me, that means that if I were to use it in the current state, right? Aside from the fact that it's actually a little bit steep, I would actually have to go up, open the door, back up, down the ramp. Then the bottom line is that there's supposed to be a platform at the top of that, right? And with railings, the whole thing, right? So that's what I was telling Jeff about in the email, and I called down to the building office, and I spoke to the administrator there because I wanted to find out if they had actually filed a building plan.
Right.
Right. And she told me that the only thing that covered was the door. Didn't make any mention of the ramp. So it's a little bit of a complex situation because if it did have a building permit and was done this way, it would be absolutely wrong, right? And the guys from the AAB, which is in downtown Boston, they would actually come out and survey it. And Hatches, the owner of whom, would actually couldn't get fined until they correct that. You remember, just a little slight background, right? The Pearl Restaurant, okay? I became aware of the fact that through a previous I lost my train of thought. Don't get old, you can't remember anything. A building inspector, right? He made me aware of the fact that there was a hearing in Boston, which I went to, of the AAB rather. And I knew that the Pearl building had a, called an elevator shaft in it, right? But there was never a lift or anything like that put in. They were trying, the Pearl guys were trying to wiggle out of having to do that, right? So that a person could go up to the upper level using a lift. But the meeting, the people who ran that meeting were having no part of it, right? My point, but the thing is that not only was, because not only, Gail, somebody just showed up. Anyway.
Yeah, I know who it is. I'll just alert them that we're not taking any votes. This is just a discussion. Nothing's, you know, you're just bringing us up to speed on something in town.
Yeah. So so without the building permit, it's kind of vague to me. How do you proceed? And that's really what the message to Jeff Dugan at Mod was, you know, but just because it's a little bit of an odd situation. And the fellow who, and of course, you know, at some point in time, our building inspector went to Eastham. Okay.
Right, and we have a new one. I'm not really sure if he's in the office or not, but
yeah. I mean, and is it? I'm going to mess up her name, but I meant to have it out here. Anyway, like Doreen.
Oh, like Dareen, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, do it again.
Dareen.
But she, you know, she's the one who told me that there wasn't a building permit for that part.
Okay.
Right. And so, you know, Jeff's been pretty good about getting back to me, you know, because we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see how it plays out, you know. And the other thing I asked her, Doreen, about is down on the at the top of Main Street, right, where the new construction is, where the whoops, there you are, full screen. Where the new construction is, and there's a ramp that comes down, but it terminates, and it's not clear how it's going to mesh up with the level, you know, the ground, if you will. So anyway, she Darlene said to me that she would send the new building inspector over to check it out versus the paperwork that they had filed. I have to excuse myself for a second because I gotta get a beverage, otherwise I'm gonna lose my voice. I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna put the agenda back up. So Fred was just giving us some update on some independent research he's been doing about ADA compliance and ramps in town.
It's actually 521 CMR most likely, because that's the stuff that can be enforced by the state.
Thank you for clarifying that. So I guess, you know, yeah, just thank you for doing that and keep us updated on your findings and what you hear from Jeff. And the next item on the agenda was about discussing to invite Jeff to a meeting, you know, with Kate not being here, who's, you know, you and her are only two confirmed members. We can figure that out next time. And then I don't really have anything else for discussion except for you had started compiling a mission statement, which I thought
Right.
basis of was really good. And I guess when Kate can make it to our next meeting, we'll figure out when that will be, and we'll post that as well so people can join if they're interested.
Sure.
To hear about what we're doing, which is mostly just trying to get the committee back on board and back on track with some more
Right.
members, and maybe a refined membership size and a bit of a better charge and mission statement.
Yeah.
So.
I think Kate asked me about, in I forget which meeting, she asked me about being able to get fines from handicap parking violations in town channeled over into an account that we could use for materials or whatever, right? And I gave the wrong, and I said I'd run into a town that had already started doing that, and that is Chelmsford. Whatever it was I said the last time, it's actually Chelmsford. So, and they've had an actual a very active, because they're a lot bigger than Wellfleet too. So we'll see. See, the thing that would have to happen is that I don't know how this works, but the police would have to designate that this is a parking violation, a handicap parking violation versus some other violation that, parking, like blocking a ramp or a crosswalk or whatever.
Yeah, I think the first step would be to talk to the police about it. And I know that Kate has talked to one of the officers over there before.
Yeah.
So we can definitely put that on the ongoing to-do list.
Yeah.
And then
I lost you.
sorry, Jude has a question. I'm gonna unmute her, Miss Ahern. You can unmute yourself too.
Oh,
Me?
sorry. Okay, sorry. I just thank you, Frederick, for taking this on, and thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to mention about the parking tickets. I'm not sure, but maybe the parking task force looked into this to some extent, and you might want to ask, only because I know, I'm embarrassed to say, but I got a $300 parking ticket for parking in a handicap spot
Yeah.
several years ago.
Mhm.
And met with the chief then because I wanted to know, was this really a problem in town, that people were parking in handicap parking. So I
Right.
know that that's a quantifiable thing, and perhaps the parking task force took that up more recently. That's all.
That's a really good idea. Thank you for mentioning that, Jude.
My apologies, but I don't know Jude.
Jude is she lives in town, and she has a lot of great ideas often. So
Okay.
yeah.
She-
Thank you. One other thing, thank you, Courtney, I truly appreciate that. But when I was looking into stuff about the Shellfish Shack, I went around to other towns and saw that the ramps that they had on the beaches for handicapped people,
Mhm.
and I was just amazed at how good they were, like Craigville Beach, and anyway, I just hope that in the future we can look to other towns and what they've done. That's all.
Yeah. Speaking about parking, at the National Seashore, there are, at the National Seashore, and not the one by the big pond, but out by Marconi and so on, that area. When I went by there, there weren't enough parking spots with relationship to the massive parking lot that there was there, handicap spots, that is. And so I think over time we could, and the National Park Service and the National Seashore are trying to abide by the ADA requirements. So they've been pretty good about it. Like up at Yeah, like, thank you. I've got an editorial off my lap. Up by Great Island, they were good in the sense that they installed a good sidewalk cut and stuff like that, so people could actually get up onto the trails or onto the picnic tables that were there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of great examples out there that we can learn from and help improve Wellfleet for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments before we, adjourn this little
Courtney?
get together?
Courtney, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, Catherine.
Yes. I just had a couple questions, if I may.
Yeah.
Back on the handicap parking, use of the handicap parking fines.
Mhm.
Is there a current account set up for the commission or not?
I'd have to check. I don't believe so, but
Nothing I'm aware of.
not that. Yeah.
Okay, so that would have to happen first
Yeah.
so that we could deposit those things.
Right.
Okay.
I think,
The second thing is, I'm
go
sorry, go ahead, Fred.
no, you
No, go
go ahead, please.
No, because I was going to change the subject with another question, so please go ahead.
Oh, this year with where the Oyster Fest kind of fell apart, and that wouldn't have been an issue, but in previous years, what can happen is people are they're not necessarily working in the interest of people with disabilities, because I've seen them park in the crosshatch areas, like up at the library, for example. And so you'll notice that outside the library in that big crosshatch area down to the left of the back entrance, there's a no parking sign. That happened because I basically said to the DPW, that we need to do something here, and it happened. They've been very good. The other thing, just as a note, in the couple of Oyster Fest ago, an event called a public event, it might have been, it was scheduled to go on at the Masonic building, right? Well, the problem with that is the Masonic building is not accessible to a person like myself in a wheelchair. So and it was something that was set up by Mac Hay, okay? And I spoke to Mac and said, you really can't do that, because you're discriminating to a person who just literally can't get in. That's why all the events like cooking demonstrations, that kind of stuff, now happen at the at Pres Hall, because it is completely accessible. That's it.
Yeah.
One last
Thanks.
question, Courtney.
Yeah.
It was just an observation as I'm going through the town hall parking lot the other day.
Mhm.
And I just noticed that the two handicap spots, designated spots at the end, right on Main Street area, are really, when you consider it non-handicapped accessible, in that they're right at the top of a hill that ends,
Yeah.
the bottom ends at a main street. So
Yeah.
that's just an observation, and they're probably, what I was thinking is that, there could be places on the other entrance to the town hall, that there's plenty of room, that those could be handicapped accessible spots as opposed to up on the hill. Just an observation, no need for response.
Quite honestly, I try to avoid those spots because, like you say, they're on a slope. I tend to, let's say if I'm going to the marketplace, or into town hall when I was able to, I tend to park at the backside. There's other spots at the backside of town hall, and so I use those where they're kind of where they're level. And then I usually try to go down the fire lane so I don't get myself run over if I'm going to the marketplace, say.
Smart.
It's tricky.
Right.
Yeah, it is. But that's a great observation. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else. Like I said, we'll figure out the next time that works to meet and we'll get that
Sure.
posted. But I appreciate everybody's contributions today. It was a really great discussion. And thank you for joining us.
Well,
Thank
thank you for coordinating.
Yeah.